Hey guys, Macca here. Welcome to my first impressions / quickie review of The Last Guardian. I've been playing it a little bit here and there since the review copy came in last week. I've not yet beat the entire game, but I am a good chunk of the way through, which is why this is a little bit of a laid-back review. Now, this game has had a very long development cycle, longer than just about any other game, being in development since 2007 and being announced as early as 2009, but I put all of the hype and expectations to the side and went into the game with a completely open mind. Now, right off the bat, it's easy to see that this game is absolutely stunning. The graphics might not be the most realistic or the most pretty, but the art style and art direction absolutely makes up for it. Visually, this is one of the most appealing games I've played in a long time. And to complement the graphics is the music, which in large part is an orchestral score that plays during the most tense moments of the game and is an easy standout for one of the best parts. And added on top of that is the level design and the epic nature of the large and vertical areas that you'll be traversing during your playthrough. When all three of these things are put together and added into a set piece, the game absolutely shines, as you'll see in this small example. Now, the story is told as a flashback, and you're playing a young boy who meets a griffin-like creature called Trico. Then the story progresses as the journey that these two go on together. I think as a story and as a narrative, this is fine, although it wasn't one of the shining points for me personally, and it wasn't very memorable for a lot of the moment-to-moment action of the game. I often forgot about the grand idea of the story and just thought about the actual puzzles or areas that I was in at the moment. And that brings me to the biggest chunk of the actual game, the gameplay, or the puzzles you'll be solving along your way to complete the game. And I would say it's a mixed bag. There are a couple that are really cool and were really fun, and there was a couple that were absolutely terrible and tragically put in the game, ruining the flow and my overall experience. There were lots of cool areas that you're dropped into and just left to figure out exactly what you should do in order to progress. However, there's also a lot of areas where you're dropped in, and instead of trying to figure out a puzzle, all you're trying to figure out is exactly what the game wants you to do or where you're supposed to go, instead of showing you a puzzle and asking you to solve it. I think what I'm trying to say is that I wish the game had more thought-provoking puzzles instead of action and platforming puzzles. Overall, the game has a lot of fun and cool moments, but in the end, I felt like it was a constant uphill battle against the controls, camera, and AI, which really took me out of the experience. I would find myself extremely frustrated with the AI of Trico as well as the camera, but most importantly with the controls. I found myself often dying because of the controls and not my ability to solve a puzzle or complete a platforming section. These problems become even more amplified during some of the claustrophobic sections of the game. There were many times where I found myself trying to fiddle around with my companion Trico to get him to sit in the exact location that I thought the game wanted him to sit in so that I could progress, and there were often moments where I found myself figuring out the puzzle within 1 to 2 minutes, but spending several more minutes trying to get the game to recognize what I was doing so that I could progress. This became even more of a problem as I progressed and would begin to second guess myself after doing what I thought was the proper solution and getting no feedback in terms of what was happening on the screen. This can be something as simple as jumping to a platform and not landing on it properly, then falling to your death, or something a little more complicated like trying to get Trico to jump across a gap for 5 minutes at a time. And that's more or less my first impressions / quickie review of The Last Guardian. It has a lot going for it, including the graphics, set pieces, music, animation, and overall feel of the game. The story's decent, and the puzzles can be rewarding, although not every puzzle is as good as the last. But the controls, AI, and camera get in the way to the point where there are a lot of moments that are unfortunately just flat out unenjoyable. For these reasons, I can't recommend it, but I wouldn't necessarily say that you shouldn't try it. There are definitely reasons to play this game, and it mostly depends on where you hold the value of a title. The campaign is decently long your first time around, and you can go back in order to find some collectibles and speedrun it, although replayability is probably not one of the key features. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Drop a like if you found it helpful, share it with a friend. Special thanks to Drop That Artemis for supporting the show on Patreon, and hopefully I see you guys next time. Peace.